Hi, everybody, and welcome to Walk Through the Rabbit Hole.
Hey,
I'm Josh, and tonight we have Alex joining us from Slovenia, across the pond. Another guest from from us.
hey.
We worked together in the past, and she's going to get
Yeah.
into some of her experiences. Welcome. Glad to have you here.
Yeah, I'm so happy that I'm on your show again, even though you're not with Robert Duo anymore, but still, it doesn't matter. I was searching for you though. I was really looking for your profile, but I couldn't find you, and then I just gave up on it, but somehow you popped up again, and here we are.
Awesome. Great.
Yeah. Cool. So, mm, I'm I'm gonna be short about myself. Basically, I like explore things in spiritual realm, right? Esoteric stuff. I had a lot of experiences with extraterrestrials, as you know already. But in the last 3 years, I think, yeah, 3 years and a half, I have had also experiences with quantum stuff, with the invisible spiritual realm and energies and entities and all kinds of things that uh, I didn't know how to explain them to myself, and all those happenings to me up until I've met several people in my life that basically um, taught me about these things. And then, as life
Right.
goes, several books came on into my hands and on the bookshelves with which I help myself understand what am I experiencing, what I have to learn more, and I gathered like a lot of knowledge. Still not enough, but a lot so that I can talk about my experiences now with confidence and no more hiding like before, because it was very difficult for me as well. Because when you're experiencing something that is in a way painful, or when you're losing your mind and you think that you're going crazy and you don't know to who to talk to who do you turn to that will not judge you, right? No matter what you're saying, that they're going to listen to you and try to understand you and try to help you in a way that is going to be helpful for you in that moment. So yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Uh, would you go into it a little bit because there's a lot of new members, new group, to
Yeah.
what your experience, your ET experiences started off as?
uh so we're not going to talk about UFOs because you know already my story about seeing them, but there were no more scenes of aircrafts in these years. But like it all started 3 years ago or 3 years and a half ago, when I started to have panic attacks and inserted thoughts of me being suicidal, and I didn't know from where those kind of things were coming from. And I've met one person named Vladimir, I mean Vlado. We can call him Vlad shortly. And he's a very special kind of a guy. He's like near his 70s and he's in his 60s. I don't know his exact age, but it really doesn't matter. What matters is that he's a type of a person that opened up a door which led into the hallway of 150 doors to quantum realm. And he basically helped me by visiting him and having a healing cleansing session where he told me that I was wrapped up with two different entities from the fifth and the second dimension, and I had some kind of some kind of torture devices on my head, which were implemented on my etherical body, with for which they were like causing issues, like these thoughts, pain, in a way also this, depression, dyslexia, all sorts of things, but mostly they were like triggering uncontrollable anger and feeling of despair, feeling of giving up. And he was doing this with his medium, because alone he cannot, he wasn't able to see all these things, but when the medium was connected with him, they were like a duo that worked perfectly in sync, and he was able to energetically remove it from me. And I was basically really moving like backwards, forwards when he was doing this, and he was saying to me that he sees all those shreds falling off my body, and that slowly everything that was like hanging on to me was like leaving me, and I felt relieved. And then he programmed my water. So we all know that water has memory, right? Mm-hmm. And and you can program it on certain frequencies and help yourself and heal yourself. But since this Vladimir was being we gotta go a little bit back. He was operated from light beings, and these light beings told him that he is one of the carriers of very important keys of humanity, of very important data of the DNA. And he was sent here to heal people, those that were allowed of being healed from Sirius B, because he's working with the beings from the star constellation Sirius B. Without him, and without the gadgets that they implemented in his body, he wouldn't be able to do that. So, through Sirius B constellation, and with the help of his space buddies, he programmed my water, and this water I really felt the way it started to heal this upper part of my head where the injuries were the worst. It was a little bit painful for me for a couple of days, but weeks passed by, and I really felt less and less agitated, and those thoughts lessened, aggression lessened. So he really helped me, and this wasn't like one time that I was at his place. I went several times there. I was visiting him like for about 8 or 9 times in 2 years, because the thing is that when it comes to these attacks from the astral realm, I figured that we all, when we incarnate here, we have these so-called soul agreements, contracts. But when it comes to these soul contracts, it's important if they are being done with the light side or with the dark side. And we are most of the time manipulated to do the things for the dark, because they promise you money, they promise you all the good things that you want to hear, and you fall for it. And I fell for it. I fell for it like for I don't know how many times. Because when I went on a session of breaking those soul contracts, I figured I was given the exact number of the contracts that I had. There were like 35 of them. And I figured that up until I diminished these contracts, I was constantly being under attack, constantly, and being abducted at night and having those different burn marks still on my body. And I figured that up until I stopped all this, it was all going to repeat. If I wouldn't meet another person called Chris that was doing these soul contracts erasings, I wouldn't be able to fix anything of it. Because the tricky part is these soul contracts, every time you incarnate, they stay there. It's not like karma. When you do good things, right, throughout your lifetime, karma can be erased, but not the contracts, especially not with the dark side. You gotta go through some kind of a session like I did, like a quantum regression, where people really have to have these abilities to do these kind of things.
Makes
It
sense.
was, yeah, I was very, very, very lucky that basically these kind of a people came into my life. I was always, asking universe, and I was always like, oh my God, please send me somebody that, has this kind of knowledge, or this person that can help me with this problem, because God, I really don't know what else can I do. Where can I search for answers? I really need some help from other side, right? Because not all the problems that are in spiritual realm cannot be fixed by a normie that doesn't have some kind of healing abilities, or it's allowed to do these kind of things.
Right. Um, before you go any further, is it all right if I ask you some questions?
Yeah, ask right away.
My first one I already was answered. Is Vlad a person or an ET? I imagine he kind of sounds like he would be a starseed, huh?
Yeah, I mean, I really know that I am a starseed, so
You as well.
yeah.
You also mentioned in your bio that you sent me that he had a Slovenian exorcist done.
Vladimir knew one Slovenian, very, very famous Slovenian exorcist guy that passed some very high-tech gadgets to him, so that he is able to use these gadgets to help and heal people, and to take off of people entities, even reptiles, if he's allowed to. Because if a person, like he told me that if a person has these kind of things in the karma program, he's not allowed to take it off, right? Because like if the higher self of the person that he wants to heal, if the higher self says no, and if the guides of him and his guides of Vladimir say no, then this person has to go through the school of this. So that means if you have to suffer for your lifetime, throughout your lifetime, in this lifetime, then you have to suffer. But if you still hear me?
Yeah, I can still hear you.
Okay, cool. At first, I thought, I'm sorry that our connection broke
No, we're
off.
good.
Okay, we're good. We're good. Okay. So yeah, so basically, if the healer gets a no, then he's not allowed to work on you, right? And those gadgets that he got from this exorcist are really working only for the people that have enough frequencies to work with them. So, for example, if I would have want to try to use one of those, they would probably won't work, because I don't have enough frequencies in me to
Gotcha.
work with those things. So yeah,
When you,
what?
when you say gadget too, I mean, is it an actual physical thing? Is it like crystals? Is it like a watch?
Yeah. And it's like he has like different pendulums from not that are with crystals or without crystals. He also has for me are like toys, but for him it's like, I don't know. I would have to draw them for you, so that you would be able to visualize how they are. But they're like, I don't know, two globes of planets on two strings, but they are turning. I don't even know how this functions, but he understands it because he has all this knowledge imprinted in him. That's why he can use them. He said to me that he's not even allowed to share everything with me because it's not my time yet. So basically, I only saw a few of those things, but he didn't use all of them on me because these gadgets that he uses, some are very strong, and he is always asking his guides what kind of those gadgets are for the proper for this person to work on, so that he doesn't damage the DNA or anything else. So yeah. So I guess he knows very well what he's doing, and I always trusted him. I always felt better when I left his home. It was like I never gotten worse or anything.
That's
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah. Yeah, I was so lucky. I was so lucky of meeting him. I don't even know how, like, when I sat in his car, he said to me, he looked in the mirror, back mirror, and he was like, "You were meant to be in my car today, Aleksandra." And I'm like, "Oh, hello to you too." It's gonna be an awesome ride. Oh,
Awesome.
yeah. So, what would you like to ask next?
You still work with Vlad?
We didn't hear each other like for about 2 months now. He's having a little bit of privacy time because he had a some kind of a procedure. He had a something on his prostate, not like cancer, but he had an operation, and that really took some damage on him, and he's not energetically vital as he was before the procedure. So basically, I'm okay with not calling him or needing him anymore because, I mean, anymore. We are still friends, but as I said, I'm giving him space, he's giving me space, and it's okay. It's probably right now for the best. But I really do believe if I would have called him like tomorrow or on Monday, he would have answered and we would have talked if he would have time. So yeah, he's a friend for a lifetime.
That's awesome. And you said he healed your dyslexia.
uh, yeah.
That's
I
amazing.
The thing is that my dyslexia started like when Corona started. I was
Really?
working, yeah, when Corona came, right after the lockdown, when we opened up the our bars and restaurants and everything, I started working at a cafeteria at the coastline in Slovenia. And something very strange happened one day at work. I was at work and it was a very busy day as usual, and I was getting disoriented, and I was feeling like my eyes weren't in place, and I felt like something stung me in my back, like some kind of a injection, and there was like a like something got connected on my nervous system, and I was getting those electroshocks in my body, and I started crying, and I was in a way in a panic mode because I didn't know what was happening to me. I was trying to keep focus at work because I was in a cafeteria that was very, very crowded, and in that moment it was like one of the most inappropriate moments of me having a mental, not breakdown, but I wasn't myself. And I started crying, and I started hugging my coworker and saying I'm sorry, and she was like, "What did you do to me? It's okay, Alex." And I was like sobbing and the pain, and then And then I started making kicks at work almost every single day. I started reading numbers wrong, letters wrong. Um, and I didn't know anything about dyslexia ever. And then my coworker 2 months later, he said, "Alex, do you have dyslexia maybe? Because you're like making too many mistakes sometimes, And I'm like, might as well if I have it. I don't know. Like, thanks for bringing it up. I really had no clue. I was always, a healthy teenager, whatever. I never had eye problems like that, right? So I looked it up, I Googled it up, and I was like, oh my God, really? But at that time, I didn't have not as close as knowledge as I have now. And now I finally understand that there was something really connected on my nervous system that was messing with my eyesight and causing eye movement, because with the dyslexia it's like as if your eyes are in the back and you're writing and eyes come back in the back and front, and when you do the mistake you don't even see that you do a mistake, you see it afterwards, like minutes later, and that's not good. That's really not good. So yeah, but that in that time they were like pushing the buttons on my nervous system, but afterwards, after 2 years, my dyslexia sort of went, and then it appeared again this year. And this time, I was very, very self-aware of what was going on with my body, and I felt how something was sitting on my face like this, like it has tentacles. I don't know how to explain it, but as if an octopus was sitting here on my face and smearing my eyes here to there. And I was like, oh my God, I'm not even gonna say jack shit at this workplace that I have dyslexia again. I'm gonna tell Vlad this, and we're gonna figure it out what is going on and why is going on to me this time. And he took it off. I called him and I said, "Listen, I really need your help. Dyslexia is back." And he's like, "You're not dyslexic." And I'm like, "Yeah, I know. I have an octopus on my face." And he's like, "Yeah, I see something is sitting on your nose." And I'm like, "Thank you for the confirmation," because he's like a psychic. He can see even when you're talking on the phone with him. He has his third eye open and everything, so he can basically sense it, see it, everything. And he was like, okay, whenever you have time, you just come. And he took it off, but he said to me, I cannot promise you that this is not going to happen to you again, because if you have it in your any of your agreements, or in your karmic debts, or sort of say, then this can happen to you again. That's why I'm saying that I'm very happy that I was on that regression, where I have torn apart all these agreements, because all of this is nullified and stopped. And I can say with 110% confidence that it's not going to happen to me ever again. And so whoever has dyslexia, it's not a human thing to have. Like it's not a disease as they call it. It's like some kind of a astral parasite that is boggling your astral body, because basically they put it on your astral body, and that imprints itself on a 3D, our physical body, right?
Mhm.
It
Is
was really what?
I was going to take a shot in the dark. Is Vlad also a Reiki practitioner?
Uh, he wouldn't call himself like that, no.
'Cause
But
I
he,
knew. I interviewed a couple and they talked about astral parasites as well. I've heard stories
Mm-hmm.
about what they call prehistoric leeches, which were like giant slugs
Mm-hmm.
that would attack people.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah,
I
when
thought
you
I'd
have your
ask.
auric field damaged, right? When your aura has holes in it, which happens with the trauma, or it really depends how much your DNA is damaged, or how much of an empath are you, and if you know how to protect yourself. But even if you know how to protect yourself, still keeping your frequency all the time sky high, it's not very easy, and it's not possible for you to stay like 110% protected. You gotta have help from your guides and from astral beings. Alone as humans, in our human bodies, we are very, very vulnerable,
How do you connect to
unfortunately.
your dad, if you don't mind me asking?
Well, right now, I think I have one guide for now. I don't know if others are on vacation or anything, but right now, as I feel I have just one. And he listens. I mean, my guide is listening, and most of the time, I don't know. It's like a mantra, but it has to always come from the good intent. Whenever I wanna manifest something or create something, it has to come from the heart and from loving kind of space.
It's a good rule to have.
Like, it's not hard, but it's not that easy either, because we
I,
often speak. Yes.
I just said right. I agreed with you. It's not hard, but it's not also the
Yeah.
easiest thing to do either.
No, it's really, you really gotta go into your heart center, and really those true emotions of gratitude and compassion have to come forward. And I'm not saying that I'm perfect at it. I'm also still, you know, I also fail, right, throughout the day. Also, I'm not all the time positive, but I'm really trying, to be a better person each day and make the day brighter also for others. Lately I'm really, recognizing in myself those patterns that were passed on to me from my mom, from my dad, my grandfather, grandmother, and so on and so forth. And I'm not gonna say that I don't like them, but I was like, geez, why am I carrying this with me? I really want to integrate it, accept it, but transmute it so that something good, better can come out. So this is what I'm lately focusing on the most, because I really want to, do better, and accept myself more, so that which is helping me accepting others as well. Yeah, let's put it that way.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I know, right? When I'm listening to myself speaking to, I'm like, oh, make it simple, but it's not that easy. It's nothing but simple.
Oh, I
But
really understood you though.
it, so, any other question that we would like to move forward to?
Um, that's still amazing that you healed your dyslexia. I mean, that's that's quite a feat.
Y- Yeah, yeah, I know. I know. I finally feel my face is clean. I don't have anything here. I don't sense anything on my eyes anymore. So it's really amazing. I'm very happy that whatever it was went the fuck away. Because when it happens to you once and when it goes away, you're like, oh my God, thank God. And when it started coming back, I was like, oh my God, no. What do I do? I was like, I mean, I wasn't depressed, but I was like, how am I going to explain this at work? Everybody is going to be worried. So I hushed it up. I didn't say anything to anybody. I don't even know if I tell it to Eric, my boyfriend. I don't even remember if I told him this, but I was like, I wasn't very happy about it, and I wanted to figure out on my own how to fix this because I knew that doctors wouldn't help me. I wouldn't, settle for any kind of a drug or anything because I knew that the answers and the solutions are not in our medical world, pharmacy, whatever. It's not. It's
How long did
way beyond of doctors' thinking, way beyond.
You're right. We're seeing a lot of that here in the U.S.
Far
There's so
gone.
much
Far
change
gone
in that.
rationality. Far gone.
How long did the process take to get it removed? For Vlad to do that, so you to take it off your face.
No, it was I think that it was about 4 to 5 minutes. It didn't
Oh
take
wow.
long. It didn't take long. It really depends on how strong these parasites or entities are that are on you. It really depends. And while he's doing it, he's using for this parasite that I had. He used a pendulum, one type of pendulum, and he moves it up. He starts from the solar plexus, and then he's knocking it out and moving it up forward. And when he has it here in your throat chakra, he slowly comes with his hands like around your neck. He doesn't touch you. He never touches you when he's doing that. And he slowly pushes it up and for your crown chakra, and then it goes.
Wow.
Yeah. Because he has to push it up into higher chakras so that he can get that thing of your system through the crown chakra, and then he makes a protection bubble with his hands around your head, and then you're protected for a month or two, at least your head.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it's amazing. And you can really feel the energy coming from his hands. He has like so much energy, dude. Like, oh my God. I was at his house once. He allowed me being there when he was healing other people because uh, he knew that I was able to take all this in and to understand it at this age that I'm at. Because when I met him 3 years ago, he said to me that I'm on the level to talk with him. And I'm like, oh my God. When somebody like him said that to me, like, I was like, oh my God. Finally, someone is appreciating my time that I read all this knowledge that so many people don't believe in. And there he was saying to me, I'm on his level. And I was so, humbled at that moment when he said it to me. And I still am. And when I was in the sessions when he was healing others and learning and seeing how he works with people, I was also very happy that I was able to be there and to listen and to learn. And I was very thankful that he allowed me to be there. And what I wanted to say that when you're in his presence for more than 2 or 3 hours with the amount of energy that he has, I went home with such a headache. And later I texted to him, I spent too much time on your yard today. I have a massive headache. And he said, yeah, I know. I warned you. But you didn't want to go home. Yeah, but it's the way it was. It's the way it was. After 3 hours and a half standing there, I was like, oh my God, I really gotta go home. I cannot take this amount of energy in me anymore because it was really too much.
When the time you were at his house that you're just speaking about, did he have a medium there with him or no?
No, no, Mira. Her name is Mira. She was working with him for quite a while, but me and her, we didn't like each other very much. I mean, she didn't like me very much because she has seen my past lives working with the dark side. And she was very mad at Vlado, and she said, "Why are you helping her? She's not working for the light, blah, blah, blah. She needs to decide on which side she wants to be." And we were arguing over the phone while the healing session was on, and Vlado was just standing there listening to this cat fight, you know. And in the end, he said to Mira, "It's not your call on who I invite in my yard and who I help. So whether you're okay, we go through this, or I'm gonna go through this alone." And I really feel bad for her because 1.5 years ago, she had an attack from the ninth or 10th dimension. They broke through her protection that Vladimir gave her, and she's right now. I don't know if she's locked away in a mental institution, but all I know is that she went to one of the Slovenian exorcists, and they said no, that they cannot help her. So she's not working with Vlado anymore. And I don't know why this happened to her, but at the same time, I was always asking myself, like, if you are a medium and if you were given this gift of helping and healing people, why do you diminish those that once worked for the dark and turned the back to the dark and transmuted and still transmuting themselves into light and try to, do something good this time? Because that hate that was coming from her towards me, I really, I was, I still am astonished by her hate. And I think that really she came to a point in her life where this kind of hate consumed her and she became vulnerable, and the baddies took the opportunity, and she made a
Yeah,
mistake, and yeah, and she made a mistake, and that's the price you pay, right? I'm not saying that she deserves it. I would never wish upon anyone anything like this. But there's always a reason why these kind of things happen. And I pray for her, and I truly hope that one day she's gonna come out of this nightmare that she's in right now. And because of the attack that she had, because of the attack that was that sent her completely mental, Vladimir, he had a circle of guardians, and he got so scared because the protection that he gave her, he received a blueprint from Sirius B, and this protection was alien technology made to protect his guardians from strong dark forces, basically from higher realms. And if they managed to break through it, he said to all of his guardians, "I'm releasing you because I don't want to take the responsibility if any of you guys will have to go through what Mira is going through." So yeah, that's why, in a way, I also understand why he why he didn't want to give me more knowledge, because he was afraid that something bad is going to happen to me too. And he told me that many times, and he's whenever we have the time to talk, He always reminds me, be low, stay low, don't talk too much, don't talk to wrong people, Alex. Stay safe. He always says that.
Good advice.
Yeah. This is not, this is not a bedtime story for toddlers because these kind of things
No.
are pretty shitty when they start occurring. So, yeah.
Yeah, not light topic. Um, in your bio too, you talked about the fallen ones. I guess I wanted to alliterate what you meant by them. Were them ETs or demonic
Yeah,
entities?
yeah. There are all the entities, all the souls basically, uh all not souls, all light forms, extraterrestrial life forms that turn their backs to light, that do not work through and with the law of one, which is about unconditional love, unity, and unconditional compassion, right? You always have a choice in this universe, free will, right? So it's up to us which how are we choosing to use this free will, and if we are craving for the material stuff, then we are not working for light, basically. So if somebody is craving for eternal life through the suffering of others, this is not working for light. Like, this is just one example, right?
Right.
So the history goes far, far back, like 950 billion years ago, when the fall of this universe started happening. Like, ascended masters have to have like huge amount of energy in them to carry the whole universe and with everything that's in it. And these ascended masters, like one of the ascended masters is the Metatron community. I mean, community, but Metatron collective. And they were on the side of light, but when the fall started happening, they were sending a lot of, light beings and star seeds in to somehow uh, push up and carry on the frequency, so that the fall, the digression of the universe wouldn't happen, so that all the things that were in it wouldn't sink even lower. This thing that I'm talking about right now is Kalantic science, if you ever heard about it. Have you ever heard about it?
Genetic science.
Kalantic science. This is I'm gonna send you a link after we are gonna finish the interview, so that you can look a little bit into it. This is a kind of science that was channeled to free people on this planet, right here, right now, in this time, present time. These three persons are still alive and talking about this knowledge that was given to them from very high vibrational beings called priests of Ur, and they're coming from sixth or seventh dimension. And they have picked three persons, two females and one male, and they have given them the ability of translating the 12 plates, which are called 12 CDT plates, where all the knowledge from the beginning of time of this universe is on. And there are also the teachings that Jesus was able to translate from these plates as well, and was giving to humanity.
It's also referred to as the Emerald Tablets. Some people call it.
No, No, emerald tablets are something different. It's another spectrum. Emerald tablets were Thought's idea of recreating them. Even those things that were written on the tablets were being tampered with. So these 12 CDD plates are hidden in the core of Earth. Basically, that's where they are. And on them, they're like they look like discs, plasmoid white light discs, and there's like from the beginning of time of the creation of this universe, everything is being recorded on it. All the happenings. Imagine how much data it is. Like a lot. And when she started, Ashayana Dean is one of the names of the persons that was being given this knowledge and the ability of translating all these things. She wrote four or five books. And this is like this kind of science is it's like a cosmology, and it's about the macrocosm, about macrocosm, about consciousness, about how this universe basically functions, sound, frequency, how things materialize. It's so, I swear to God, Josh, when I was going through the material, I had to read some of the stuff twice because it's very complicated when it comes to the science stuff and the quantum. People that are going to college about, like, and work for NASA or whatever kind of space agency, whichever, or the ones that are learning science, they don't know jack shit about this that I've read. And I'm not saying that I'm super smart, but people that were given this knowledge and like ashayana and put it in the books, I mean, you have to go through this, especially if you're a science kind of a guy, because you're gonna learn that nothing that you have been taught in college is valuable. It's like so contradictory whatever you read in those books compared to the science that we have here. It's mind blowing, and even like for people that claim that they know a lot about the ascension and how we're gonna, right now that everybody is talking about ascending into 5D or whatever, like she explains the mechanics of true ascension and how the planet ascends, and it's so complicated. It, I swear to God, if I would start talking right now, we wouldn't even touch any other questions that you still have for me. So let's not go too deep in this. All I'm going to say is that if anybody wants to know more about these things, you have to look up Ashayana Dean, Sleeping Voyagers, Part 1, Part 2. I can give you all the data and where to look for the links, because believe it or not, the censorship that is happening right now is so crazy that she can sell her books only on her site. There were her books on Amazon for normal prices, but I don't know what happened in the last year, but you cannot get her books for normal price on Amazon anywhere, like as if they are forbidding her knowledge to be public or whatever.
Wow. Yeah, you have to send me some
Yeah.
links.
Yeah, I will send you the links. I will send you her TikTok, whatever. So maybe you're not gonna resonate with her at first because her way of speaking is very, sophisticated. But if you're into new stuff and if you allow your soul to speak up and to allow this knowledge to go through you and into your soul, then you're probably gonna hit a spot. I bet you will.
Everything always runs into each other anyways. That's what I've learned with Lost Through the Rabbit Hole. Every topic blends into the other topic, some way or another. Everything's connected.
Yeah, yeah, I agree. And when you go into this kind of a rabbit hole as this knowledge that I mentioned before, it's like it's amazing. Like the first book has more than 300 pages, the second book has almost like 600 pages. And when I say to my friends how many pages there is, they're like, "Whoa, Alex, you have a lot of time." And I'm like, "No, I don't have a lot of time, but I just make time. I make time for the things that I feel that are going to be important for me and
Makes
useful."
sense.
Yeah, like if you you know it's like if you have an interest into something, of course you're gonna go for it, right? I mean, that's how it goes.
I
If you
feel
have
like a lot of
passion for
people don't
something,
even nowadays. A lot of people second guess themselves way too much. I think that's a huge part, at least here in America.
yeah, that's the problem. You gotta put the ego aside. I know that a lot of people are like, "Oh, where's your proof? Show me the data. Show me the pictures. Show me the like." Can't you just shut your mind for a little bit and try to sense how does it resonate with your body? I don't know. When you're talking face to face with people, with friends, right? You can see her sometimes, even if you don't see their faces, you can hear the intonation. You can sense sometimes even without saying a word what kind of atmosphere is in the room. But this is like you I realized that you have to be somehow integrated with your body and with your soul and mind. Everything has to be like intertwined and connected a lot. Only this way works, and the mind, the rational mind, has to be a little bit pushed away
Reprogram.
sometimes.
Yeah, almost
Yeah,
reprogram.
yeah, yeah,
I feel like that too.
yeah,
A lot of it too, is conditioning that we had as children and through the school system and our diet and just even.
yeah.
I'd even say with things. There's a lot of talk where people say like 5G cause issues with us spiritually and mentally through vibration.
Yeah, yeah, I have like two 5G antennas close to my home, and it's very annoying because I have that sound all the time in my head, and I got used to it. I got used to this so-called tinnitus or whatever they're calling it, which is whatever.
I
It's
have that. I have that too, but I don't know. I've also worked in some really loud, rough environments, and in my teen years, I was really into like heavy metal and punk rock, and I did a lot of concerts and stood by speakers, so I might actually have it.
oh my god. You know what? I'm going on this Friday on one session where I'm gonna probably get answers even about the tinnitus. So we're gonna be in touch when I get the answers about
All
what the
right,
heck
I'm
this
ready.
is. Yeah, and what is causing it, and if you know what I'm thinking, since I'm such a crazy person about all these things, and I'm always constantly trying to figure out what kind of meaning this has in a spiritual realm. I think that maybe there, just maybe, I don't want to freak you out. Maybe we have some kind of energetical implant that is
Maybe,
kind of.
or maybe it's just normal. Maybe it's just your third eye. Maybe we can feel energies different. That's a big part of when I was a ghost hunter. That's why they used me. Is that they said I could feel like a disruptions in kinetic energy. I remember my boss used to say, and he's like, "That's how you're
Hearing
picking up
that,
on stuff."
yeah, I understand what you're saying completely, and I agree with you. But this is different. Like if you have like, I realized yesterday when I was at work, I almost didn't have it. Right, this sound in my head, almost zero. almost zero. And when I came close to my home, I started hearing it. And I'm like, finally, you know, like I'm at my doorstep and I wasn't even thinking about it. It was just like something said to me, focus and listen. And I listened and I heard it. And I'm like, okay, I'm hearing it on the outside. And when I go into the apartment, it's even a little bit louder. So something near my home is probably triggering it.
I don't know if it's just with the internet either, because it's a funny thing that it brings up. I've about a month ago too, like my TV would just randomly play when I'd wake up and old episodes of Unsolved Mysteries would play, and they did an
Yeah.
episode on this in like 1983 of people experiencing this, and the same
Hmm.
people they took down into like this really deep iron mine, and they
Hmm.
still had they could still hear the frequencies in them, and they're like, and they came from all different walks of life. Like one was a lawyer. Like a lot of these people had no reasons for having tinnitus either, but they were hearing that buzzing frequency sound and they could not go away, and it was everybody in their like mid 30s.
Crazy, right? I mean, it's really it's really mind-boggling, and yeah, I agree. Maybe it's Wi-Fi. Maybe I have a friend that can hear electricity in those sockets, electrical sockets in the wall, and she's like, I can, when I'm in the kitchen, I can hear also sometimes electricity through walls, and I'm like, oh my God, really? And she's like, yeah, it's really bothering me, and I'm like, this is crazy. But yeah, I think that ever since, we know that frequency is rising and the planet is really ascending with the whole collective, I think that more and more people are becoming more and more aware of these kind of things. But it's kind of freakish when you start noticing these kind of things, and basically sometimes you don't have answers for it.
Right? Especially like this one
It
that's been
can,
happening to so many people for so long. I think it's more than just the internet too, and there's power stations. There's something else. I think it has to do with like static field of the planet.
Yeah, that's why I'm gonna try to figure out, and hopefully I'm gonna get the proper answer that I'm gonna resonate with. So we'll see.
Who knows? It could even be our bodies telling us we're in the wrong climate too, or never know.
I don't know, man, I don't know. Well, we'll see. We'll find out. I promise you, I'm gonna tell you.
We have a couple people left in the chat. Do you have any questions for me or Alex?
Love
Well,
of
we wait.
words.
Um, I guess too. Another question. I'll just ask you a
Sure.
question about Pennsylvania. Has there been any drone activity going on like we've been having in the U.S. the past month?
No, just for
No.
New Year there was like a drone show instead of fireworks. So that was it. But I'm not impressed. I'm not that impressed at this kind of gadgets because, in the wrong hands, these drones can be a very handy weapon for my opinion.
Oh
So
yeah, I mean, definitely we saw a lot of the horror footage between Russia and Ukraine recently, and there's a lot of drones implemented in ways that I never would have even thought would just make warfare even more terrifying in our age. It's definitely a different age we live in. Um, but I was more like talking
very
about the
different.
unknown drones that have been all over America recently. Now they're starting to spread to England too.
Oh, really? I didn't know that.
You didn't know anything? You gotta look that up on
No, no,
TikTok.
I knew about the United States, but I didn't know about the England. I didn't know about England anything that there are drones appearing. But I mean, these are all man-made. I mean, no government in the world would allow unidentified flying objects up in the sky and then pretend that they don't know where they came from. I mean, come on, how stupid are we? Really?
Right.
Like, who are you fooling? Like, I'm not a 5-year-old kid that you can just, lie to and try to convince me that you don't know from where they came from. Like, yeah, sure, whatever. With all the military bases underground or underneath the mountains or wherever they are. I mean, so much technology being hidden from us, so much money going into their black projects, and whatever.
Yeah.
It's crazy. Like UFOs, when you see them, the ones for real that are the real ones are nothing compared to this, right? To drones that there are pretending that they are UFOs.
Just
I
like
mean,
the
why
year
now?
before, we had that thing that was apparently shot down and then just never discussed it again. They showed us pictures of it and it looked like a camper. Like an old race from the 50s.
You gotta show me this! Oh my god!
Yeah, I just sent you the picture. Yeah, it was like it looked like a little old Airstream camper, and it was like, yeah, that was what was out during the jets. Okay,
I mean, they literally think that we are that dumb that we are gonna fall for this.
right.
Project Bluebeam. It was predicted from The Simpsons, right? So
Yeah,
I'm glad that more and more people are coming up to this and seeing this and basically not falling for this. I'm very happy.
it's very interesting though. We also live in a time period. I talk about this on Dark Mirror Radio all the time. Shout out, boys. Um, we live in an age where we can't trust our eyes anymore. It's something our forefathers and grandmothers didn't have to deal with. We literally live in
Yeah.
an age where you can't believe your eyes anymore.
Did you see a video? One of my closest friends sent me the video of how easily you can create a fake video with AI. I was like mind blown. I was mind blown, and I was like, dude, this is free online. Like everybody can do this if they want to.
Oh,
It's
I
crazy.
know.
You can see,
I
yeah,
just been seeing so much so much Bigfoot footage, and then the person gets so upset every time. They're like, "No, I thought this was legit." I'm like, "No, sorry to tell you this. This is AI." No, it's not a werewolf. A lot of dog man ones too. Where it's like, I wish. I'm sorry, but no.
it's yeah, yeah. If you're not some kind of, I mean, expert, yeah, if you don't have a good eye for it, they can fool you into anything, right? Like they can
Absolutely,
steal
it's
your
getting worse
identity.
every year.
Yeah, I'm using Chat GPT. Like, I really hated it when they created it. I was like, okay, this is man-made product, and even if it has consciousness, it's still man-made. It still has all the data that was gathered from humans.
You can feel the
But
difference, though. I don't know.
yeah,
Like, you mentioned The Simpsons. Do you ever watch South Park? Uh, both of
yeah,
them
I watched this,
experiment.
but not all the seasons. So
Well, the more recent ones, both of them, both The Simpsons and South Park experimented and then let ChatGPT write the script for an episode. And the storylines make sense, but you can totally tell, like, the way it's going, that it's not. You can tell it's not written by a person. There's like no
oh
heart.
my
I'd
god.
say. You know what I mean? You don't feel the story like you would to a real writer, and I think you can tell that right away. At least me.
I mean, like, I was baffled to see how literally, they can just take your face, put it in the video, steal your voice if they have a chance, and there you are. Doing whatever crazy shit somebody wants you to do in a fake video of you and put it online, and that's it.
Yeah.
And this is free. I mean, come on. Who are we thing. Like, this has to be prohibited. Like, or at least people should pay like crazy money for this to be allowed. This is not like, from my opinion, from my side of view, it's not good for the collective community.
No.
Like, no, we are not, that adult and that rational and, healthy in our heads, like some of humanity, some percents. My apologies, but some people really aren't, adult to this enough. It's crazy.
Right? I know. It's amazing. And then you add in some of this drones and stuff, and then you think about them having AI powered, and it's just wow.
you know, I'm I'm gonna admit that I use ChatGPT only for the knowledge that I want to learn from the esoteric cosmology and stuff like that. Only for that. That's the only reason I'm using it, because I don't want to, fall for the tricks of it. Because many people got so addicted and search for every single answer for every single thing or the solution or whatever. No, no, not me. I
This is
only,
the old technology. Have you heard of
yeah.
sorry to interrupt, have you heard of the new one called organoids, they call it? They use stem cells to put data on, and they actually pretty much
What?
make an android out of stem cells. It's messed up. You should do some research on it. It's even way
Jesus.
scarier than AI.
Oh my God, this is not good. This is not good. I've never heard about it, but if they're doing this, this is very sick. They're playing God, basically.
Basically, and then using organ, they're basically taking organs, almost giving them conscious, and then using them as kind of like filing systems. It's the way to take it. Some of them have eyes. Some are actually made into like androids.
Shit.
Really creepy. They're really, really tiny, and they're in labs, but it's been around for a few years now. Organoids.
Oh my
I'll send you
God, I'm
some.
gonna, yeah, I'm gonna look it up. I never heard about this, but this is crazy. And no, I'm not supporting this.
No, neither.
This is my answer. I'm not supporting this in any kind of way. I mean, like, leave the human bodies alone. Like, we are fine just as we are. Like, we don't need
Yeah.
to become cyborgs. Like, I'm fine with my brains and my soul, and I'm fine
Right.
just as I am. Oh my God, it's fucking crazy. Like in a horror movies, like in a Black Mirror or something.
Oh yeah, we definitely live in an episode of Black Mirror. It's funny too; they don't come out with new episodes anymore. They're
Yeah, I
limited.
know. I was also thinking about what kind of a person, comes up with this kind of stuff. Like,
Right?
where
Is
do
some of this actually just like a drop from like a black budget organization? You know what I mean? Is this like just a little bit of gossip that got out with some of these shows and movies? Sometimes they hit way too
you?
close to home.
Yeah, yeah. I'm like really wondering sometimes who writes the scripts of these kind of diabolical thingies. Oh my God, like crazy. But yeah, this is where we are right now, right?
Right? Welcome to the future.
Yeah, unfortunately, right now it doesn't look very bright, at least for humans, since everybody wants to make cyborgs out of us.
Right?
As if we need it, as if we need it. We don't. But I think it's more about control. So,
Yeah. I mean, that's what it's
so
always been
that,
about.
yeah, yeah, control and taking our free will and rational mind, and just carry about the submission, and that's it. But we're not gonna give in. We're not.
Nope. Keep fighting the good
Nope.
fight.
Yeah, of course, most definitely. Especially us that were so woke, in a sense. Yeah, crazy.
Well, we hit the hour mark. Is there anything else you'd like to talk about, or you're always welcome to return too? So
Well, I don't know. I would like to just mention or say something about my experience that I had like 1 year and a half ago, where I really learned how important it is to know who you're working with, especially if there is a person sitting next to you or in front of you that is a healer, how important it is that you know that person that wants to work on you. Because, like, I had a very, very rough experience last summer where I experienced a term that I'm going to use is called soul extraction, where you're fully aware and awake and you become possessed and you can feel that something else is in your body with you. It was crazy.
it was like a possession.
In a way. In a way, but it was from higher dimensions, and it was from the Metatronic collective. I was mistakenly believing, have you ever heard of Metatron's cube and all?
Yeah.
Okay, Metatron's cube, then you know that it's a main building block for the matrix that we're in right now, right? And the Metatronic collective was eons ago on the side of light. And somehow the whole collective fell. And now they are not on the side of light. Many of them, not all of them, but many of them. And one of them decided that on the 20th of August, tried to take me out of my body. And it was crazy because I was doing things that I didn't have the explanations for them, why I did them. And at the same time, I really felt that if I would give in to that entity that was trying to break my spirit, because how people lose their souls and get mentally ill for life is when their spirit is broken and when their soul is basically being taken away hostage and something else infests in the body. And while all this was happening to me that day, uh, only unconditional love and recognition of my essence, in a way, helped me stay here. It was like a battle that was going on in my head for like probably 3 hours, telepathically talking to a being that represented itself as Metatron. Mm, and at first, it started as if electrical waves on this part of my body, my brains, and I was playing Tomb Raider with Eric's daughter Lana. We were in the living room, and before Eric went, I don't know for whatever reason, I took the drops that were a mixture of THC and CBD, but it was a strong mixture, and something was guiding me to take those drops. And I took 2 or 3 of them on empty stomach. And I wouldn't say that I was high because it didn't feel as if I was high, even though I should have been, because those drops were like very strong as hell. But instead of having the trip of my life that would be good, it turned into a nightmare because that Metatronic being started electrocuting my brains, and when I was playing the game, I sensed that I didn't know the proper buttons to push. Right? Like my motoric functions were starting to dissolve. And then I started to become dizzy. And then I started overheating, like very. And when your body starts overheating, then you become a little bit, you know, hallucinating, seeing things that you're not supposed to. And I had to take at least 2 cold showers because I thought that my brain is gonna fry. And when when I was in the bedroom, I was sitting on the edge of the bed, and I heard that voice, and it said, "Are you afraid?" And I looked up, and I saw like a triangle with the shape of an eye in it, and Iris was in a shape of another triangle with another small circle in it. And in this circle was like a windmill that was like turning clockwise, but it was just one triangle with an eye and another triangle in it, right? Just one. And I looked at that triangle with that eye, and I'm like, no. And then he got bigger. Then he got big as the whole bedroom. A lot of triangles with those eyes and swirling windmills in the center. And he was like, how about now? And I'm like, in an instant, my heart just kind of stopped and skipped a bit a little. And he sensed my fear. And I'm like, no. And that's how he knew that he got me. And he was like, do you know who I am? And I'm like, maybe. It was all happening telepathically. I wasn't speaking. I was communicating with him, right? Telepathically, completely, without words. Conversation. And then he was like, I'm the one that you wanted to have a fight with months ago. And I'm like, holy shit, it's for real. Like, he's here. And I knew that if I'm gonna speak his name, that it's not gonna be good. But he already knew that I knew who was in front of me. And then when we figured each other both out, which was in a second, he started to inflict and fill my mind with all the weak spots that I had, with all the fears that I didn't even know I had. It was like torture with all my fears that I already thought that I fought, right? That I'm okay with them. And he brought in new fear through the situations in my lifetime that I was going through that could have happened, the possibilities, right? And this is the way that the fallen ones, the ones that are not working with light, do to you for one reason only, so that you give in. He wanted me to give in so that he would be able to use my body for something else, for somebody else to, someone or something else to come in. I knew that. And when 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 the peak point of my worst torture with these inflicted fears and imaginary images were in my mind, the voice came through. Alex, you are not this. You did everything right. And I started crying. I felt that angel like voice from above that I'm nothing what he's saying that I am. And I was sobbing and apologizing and started confirming to myself that I am love. I am nothing what you say. I am deserving and I'm staying here, right? And somehow, somewhat, I pulled it off. And I was like, after 3 hours of battling with him in my head, I was so exhausted. I fell asleep afterwards and I slept for a couple of hours and woke up for dinner because it was very exhausting, emotionally, physically. And all this happened because I trusted the wrong person. I mean, wrong person. She wasn't wrong. She was just sent on my path. We had a contract, me and her, this healer, and she had to come in my on my life path, right? So that I learned a lesson. And I learned it very well. So, whoever wants to, encounter stronger baddies from higher dimensions, don't. And whichever healer you go to, you always have their backgrounds check and really, really, educate yourself what kind of process is going to happen to you in the healing. And it's very important because when I consciously allowed her to work on me energetically, she opened up all of my chakras and she didn't close them, which means that I was walking around throughout the whole day, sleeping at night, shining like a freaking human supernova with all my chakras open, being an inviting point out there, and got spotted and got attacked. If she would have, yeah, if she would have done the process right, I mean, if you're smart enough to go into my body and show me your powers and open me up, then close me up, right? If she would close me down, nothing of this would have happened. Nothing. But in a sense, I'm not glad, but in a sense, I'm okay with this, that it happened, because it showed me what can happen when things are not being done properly, right? So that I can speak out loud for others that are seeking help in spiritual kind of healings, and to just say, always be careful. And always, right now I'm reading a book about the light language, and also it's being said in there that people that feel that they are ready to channel things, right, have to set up the intention, clear intention, to only allow through us and in our auric field only beings that are representatives of pure light and love. Nothing else. Because anything that is below that, less than that, then you're screwed. There is no help for you then if you mess with the wrong frequencies, entities, and stuff like that. I mean, many times there is very hard return. I mean, I can, I can finally understand people that have so-called schizophrenia, which is, again, not a human kind of a condition, sickness or whatever, because, like, I don't know what are these psychiatrists doing in their institutions where they have people that are mentally sick. Why aren't they asking some other proper questions? Why are these people hearing another voice? Where is this voice coming from? Why, when did these voices started to appear, and why? Like, there are so many questions for them, and they don't have answers for them. But guess what?
Right. They're just gonna write it
From
off as
what?
psychosis.
From my experience that I had, I can say with confidence, like 100%, that these people just have something else on them or in their auric field that wants to take over. But it cannot take over until the person completely gives in. Until you're fighting against it, it's going to be there. Unless you find a proper way to win it over. And that's only through, unconditional love and with the help of the guides. Because if you're going to do the mind battle, the ego battle, no, this is the way they feed off. You have to use something that is, stronger. So right now we are like at the point where we are still like murking the waters, right? We are pretending that this kind of a world and these kind of things don't exist. They only exist in the horror movies. Well, guess what? They're not. They are as real as they get. And many doctors should be like re-educated. They really should, hook up with people that are up into quantum and that had like Vladimir, for example, that have like he has like more than 500 different people that he was working on with all sorts of experiences, even on children at the age of 2. So there's a lot of this out there, right? So I think that we are gonna reach a point where we are gonna have to start looking for answers elsewhere, not just in this physical realm. Because if we are gonna diminish and if we're gonna push away the spiritual realm, the invisible realm, just because we cannot touch it and see it, if we're gonna forever pretend that it's not the part also of
Right.
this world, we're gonna be fucked like for eternity. So somehow,
I can't.
somewhat,
I was gonna say I can't speak for Slovenia, but I can speak for America. Our mental health, this program, and just the way we treat a- any mental health issue here is atrocious. It's you're probably not going to get help. You're probably going to be put on some prescription that's not going to
yeah,
help you. So it cause more effects, but that's what it's like being here.
it's the same here. Nothing is different here. It's the same here. I remember like 2 years ago or 3 years ago, there was like a video that was on Telegram, and I feel so bad for it that I didn't save it. I just looked at it and I scrolled forward, but it imprinted in my head as if I watched it yesterday. There was one guy speaking about how this cyclopedia of mental illnesses was faked. He said, these doctors don't even know what they're doing. They made the names of all these diseases, and did they ever heal anything or anyone? No. The drugs that they're using on the patients are worse than fucking heroin. Like, people come out of the hospitals even more addicted than when before they came in. Like, all those pills are they lock you into your body, into your mind. I mean, who wants to be locked inside their minds and bodies with all the atrocities that got them there in the first place? Like, it's a madhouse going on.
A lot of it just has to do with profit. I feel like, to be
Yeah,
honest.
yeah. If it would be for public mental health, for real, things would have been different. I had a friend, and she had also some mental issues, and she was taking antidepressives for a short while. And she said to me, "You know what?" She told me that I need to, you know, eat one pill a day, and I'm like, okay, now what? And she's like, well, I'm only taking half of it because it's so fucking strong. And I'm like, really? And she's like, yeah, I take half in the morning and half at night. I cannot swallow the whole pill at once. And I'm like, oh my God, are you serious? She's like, yeah. And she was taking them like for 2 months or 3 months. And I got a little bit of worried because I didn't want her, to get addicted to it. And I said many times to her, this is not going to help you for life. You know that, right? And she's like, yeah, I know. It's just temporary, and I'm going to get off of it. And I swear, and thank God she kept her word. She's okay now. She's perfectly fine. Not taking them anymore, but she's not into those. She believed that it's going to help her. Even if I would try to tell her what is going on with her and why things are happening to her that they were, she wouldn't believe me because she's not that kind of a person that is open to these kind of things. So I kind of had to let her go to experience herself and of taking the pills or whatever, do it herself that she believed that was gonna help her. So sometimes you just gotta let it go because
Right.
you cannot help you cannot help everybody. Unfortunately, you can't. Even if you want to, you gotta let it go.
You're right.
Yeah. So I think that we basically covered all the topics. I think.
Awesome. It's been a lot of fun.
Yeah. It was nice seeing you and talking to you again. I'm very happy that I was on your show. So
I'm glad you came.
thank you so much.
More than welcome to come
Yeah,
back
thank you so much.
anytime.
Yeah, of
Share with
course. If
you.
your watchers would want to, no problem.
Yeah. Well, thanks everybody. This is where we're going to call it a good night, and keep your eyes to the skies and keep an open mind. Thanks, Alex, for coming. Bye,
Hey,
everybody.
Josh. Cheers. Bye.